Hi, this is Julie Hutchinson with Core Performance, and today's topic is to get things done, forget deadlines, and do this instead. And I like talking about this topic because, especially today, we have so much going on. I hear from people all the time. I have work, I have family, I have these obligations. I keep getting things piled on at work. I'm working from home, I'm managing the kids if you have kids at home. And one of the biggest things that I hear a lot of my clients say this, I seem like I can never catch up. I wake up and I feel like I'm already behind. So let me ask you, do you ever feel this way? Do you feel like you have so much going on that you can never catch up? I think a lot of us are feeling that today. And when we feel that way, I'm just going to invite you right now, like thinking about all the deadlines that you have, thinking about how you feel about this. When you tune into this and feeling the overwhelm and saying, I can't keep up, I have so many deadlines, I just don't know which one to do first, I'll ask you, how do you make your decision when you're deciding what to do? What is the first thing that you look at? I know for a lot of people, they'll look at their to-do list and they'll say, and then they'll check it with their calendar and they'll say, that one's due at 1 o'clock. That one's due at 3 o'clock. I'm going to do the one that's due at 1 o'clock first because I have a deadline. Let's face it, deadlines motivate us. I used to have a client that would say, thank goodness for deadlines, or I'd never get anything done. So we use deadlines to get things done. But here's what happens. When we have so many of them, we think about the energy that we bring to that deadline. So if you think about today, for example, or this next week, think about all the deadlines you have and all the obligations that you have for other people. What is the feeling that you have around that? What is the focus? And when you think about that, when we have so many and we're feeling overwhelmed, oftentimes that energy, that emotion that comes with that is anxiety or frustration that you have so much to do, or worry or fear. And as you're thinking about that, and we've talked about this too a lot in this group, is that when you have those emotions, that frustration, anxiety, I call them depleting emotions, you can tell like your heart starts to beat really fast. You feel that anxiety, and those feelings have a toxic feel in them. People say to me all the time, yeah, when I feel that overwhelm or that burnout, I can feel it in my chest or my neck or my shoulders. We literally have a physiological response to anxiety or frustration or worry. And when we pile deadlines on top of that, and we're worried about managing our deadlines, we can feel that inside our physiology. And so now what I'm going to share with you is, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to share my screen with you because again, I'm very visual. So I'm going to share what happens when we feel those emotions. This is our nervous system. This is the autonomic nervous system. Now, our nervous system, it regulates 90% of our body's internal processes, and it signals our body to speed up or slow down. We've talked about changing emotions. I think last week I mentioned that one changing emotion from like peace, calm to frustration and fear or worry will activate over 1,400 biochemical changes in the body. And it activates the two branches of the nervous system, the sympathetic and parasympathetic. When you are faced with deadlines and feeling overwhelmed, it activates this sympathetic portion of the nervous system. Now, this is just a handful of everything in red that it activates in the body. When we go into that sympathetic nervous system, we're going into fight or flight. When we go into fight or flight, it literally changes the way our brains function. The prefrontal cortex shuts down so we have enough energy to get things done. So I'm going to ask you a question. Do you ever use deadlines or frustration or worry to get that jolt of energy, like drinking a Red Bull or a cup of coffee in the middle of the afternoon to give you that energy to get things done? Now, what I'm hearing from a lot of people too that I talk to is, yeah, that energy has me concentrate because I know I have a deadline. Well, here's what I'm going to encourage you to do instead. Instead of managing your time for that deadline, which unfortunately is tied to a lot of those depleting emotions, which sends our body into fight or flight, I'm going to invite you to manage your energy instead of your time. Manage your energy instead of your time. So let me explain this. I think the best way to put this is we have balance sheets for our finances. When we balance our finances, then we're more efficient with our money. We see how we spend our money. We have assets and we have deficits. And we know my budget for this month, I can buy that or not buy that. So we're managing our finances continuously. However, have you ever thought about having a balance sheet and how you spend your mental and emotional energy? Have you ever considered having a balance sheet and how you spend your mental and emotional energy? Because if you think about it, if you are spending your mental and emotional energy on, oh my gosh, I have so many deadlines. Oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed. Oh my gosh, I'm never going to catch up. If you wake up in the morning and you're already feeling behind or feeling that dread, your deficit column for your mental and emotional energy is going down, 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 right? Meaning that your energy is going down, your deficits are going up. And when we do this, it affects how we feel, it affects how we operate in our lives. So the goal is to get the nervous system, the brain and the nervous system into balance. So if you start to manage your energy and your mental energy and emotional energy versus just your time and the deadlines, here's what happens. And you may have caught this last week when I did my live last week, is that we set our bunker in technique, we set a time frame for it because mentally our bodies, as you know, when we have deadlines, we move closer to that deadline with a lot more focus and energy. However, what I said last week is that when you bunker in and you set that time, you set the intention with an energy that propels you towards your goals. So this is what we really dive deep in. When I work with clients, this is like the key thing that we're looking at. I'll give you an example. So one of my clients, Brenda, when she did this exercise and she started looking at her assets and deficits, and we used the fundamental step-by-step process to move into how to change the physiology and how to focus differently. We change the focus and we give that step-by-step technique. What was happening with Brenda is she was going into these deadlines and getting them done from a place of anxiety, but she wasn't able to recover. So she wasn't sleeping well at night. Her relationships were being challenged because she was always in the state of anxiety. And so she wasn't able to fully connect with people. And when we taught her this technique and being able to look at this and the step-by-step technique to get the nervous system back into balance, what happened for Brenda is she said, my productivity went up by 40%. What used to take me an hour to do, I can get it done 40% faster. So I have my time back. But what was more important is she wasn't draining her energy. So later in the day, when normally she would get exhausted and be dependent on coffee to get her through the rest of the day, she had the energy because she knew how to manage her mental and emotional states and quit managing time. And as a result, she was sleeping better. Her relationships changed. So think about this as you go through your day. Are you managing time? And are you managing to those deadlines, or are you managing your energy? If you would like more information on this, I'm going to drop in the link to my webinar. And in that webinar, it's 5 steps to biohack your physiology to reduce stress and burnout and increase productivity by 40%. I'm going to drop the link to that webinar. You can watch that at a time that works for you. It'll give you some more tips and ideas inside that webinar. And again, if you have any questions or comments, of course, I love hearing them. So put it down in the chat box. Have an amazing day, and we will see you soon. Bye.